Good morning, and thank you for joining the Galan Lithium Investor Webinar. My name is Jane Morgan, and joining me today is Managing Director JP Vargas de la Vega and Non-Executive Director Daniel Jimenez from the company. So today's webinar will be recorded and distributed on the company's website, through email, and on social media following the event. Participants are able to submit questions by the panel throughout the presentation, which will also run shareholder and investor questions received by an email as part of today's webinar. I'm now going to hand you over to JP.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much, Jane. So I'm pleased to present once again. It's been difficult times, been exciting times at the same time. It's a combination of both, but we have. In our view, we have the best project in Argentina. We have a conviction that we want to take this project online. We have made significant advances. And with that as an introduction, I would like to give you a little presentation about Galan for the shareholders or whoever is joining Galan or want to know a bit who we are and what we're doing. So this is a broad view of Galan. So then we'll go with Q&A. But in between, I would like to see if I can answer as many questions just before the Q&A. So I'm pleased also to have Daniel Jimenez today with us. So he will be telling us a bit more about the where we are moving with commercialization contracts and where the market is looking forward. So it's exciting times for us. We are out of the view that the lithium market will remain strong. We have seen strong signs from that. And we'll start with the presentation. So we got Galan Lithium. This is us in 2019. So in 2019, just for reference, we drilled Candelas, which is it was our main project at the time. We went to Hombre Muerto West. You see the first drill hole, and we were very pleasantly surprised by the result of Hombre Muerto West, that today is yielding a significant resource. It was never in our intentions initially to have such a large resource, but at the end of the day, we're blessed with the highest grade disclosed in Argentina on any lithium resource. Importantly, the impurities of the project at Hombre Muerto West and Candelas are very low. So we have been given a gift of nature from nature with something that is so good, interesting, and that can reflect down the track low operating costs. So we are a company that is focused on production. So we're not speculating whether we can produce or not. We're not speculating about anything in between. We are focused on delivering and be the next lithium producer. We understand that the complexities of being our producers are, no one said this, to get our project online is easy. But importantly, what we have is a project that has people behind Galan with experience to deliver. The company that is doing the ponds have done ponds on SQM, has done ponds for Lithium Argentina, and also is doing that now for Galan. Importantly, at the project level, we are on track in terms of times. We are on track in terms of budget. We have seen that we can potentially have some savings, and we've seen them already. But given the current times, we're also adjusting accordingly to where we're living and what we're doing. So we're not going blind and not listening or not understanding where our budget is and where things are at, but we're trying to adjust at the same time in a manner that allows to be a lithium producer that we are expecting to be the next lithium producer with the current plant and what we have by the next H1 2025. More towards the end of H 2021 at this stage, but that's the current plan. And as you can see, we're not a company that we just are trying to do things halfway or not to have a strong conviction about where we can be. Importantly, that I want to make this point is that we wouldn't be having the conversations that we have with converters if we weren't doing this. So it's a bit of a catch-22. The need for lithium demand is there. It hasn't gone away, and it's very strong. So I'll leave that with Daniel when his time comes to talk. But this is a key important message to let everyone know that we were not sitting on a project with the best grade just for doing nothing. We want to become a producer. We started from a low base of 5,400 tons. Phase 2, it will increment that to 21,000 tons. But before we before we walk, we want to be able to crawl, and then we want to run. But these are step by step, starting from a small base. Most of companies start from a base of 15 to 20,000 tons of development. We are starting a quarter of the way there, because we are conscious how difficult it is for mining projects to start. And yes, the market has turned around for the worse in a way, but we believe that we can turn this around as well, and the market won't stay there for too long. So the foundations of Galan, just to give you a bit of a bigger view of who we are. We have, as I mentioned, we have the best disclosed resource in Argentina. We have 8.6 million tons of 859 milligrams per liter, and that includes Hombre Muerto West and Candelas. Hombre Muerto West has given and keep proving that the grade is holding with all the pumping that we've done, filling the ponds, and importantly, the flow from the pond, so from the wells, it's holding, and everything is holding as planned. So operationally, we're not seeing any surprises. We're not seeing anything that it could go wrong. Importantly, Candelas has been dormant in terms of our resource estimate. We're going to be updating Candelas in the second half of this year. It has a larger upside, and so we're going to be disclosing this in the near future. For clarity, we're not spending new money on drilling on Candelas. If you're aware about how we spend our dollars, it's using the existing core data, it's using the existing geophysics, it's using and reinterpreting the data that we have already on Hombre Muerto West. So we're not going there and spend money in Candelas, because we understand our current budget. Now, as I mentioned in the previous page, Hombre Muerto West construction is advancing well. Technically, it's ticking all boxes, and there are no surprises on that end. And what makes Hombre Muerto special, and in the future Candelas and Hombre Muerto, the whole sulfide itself, is I want to highlight that brine producers are on the low end cost of production, and we have a few charts to illustrate that. And just for the Australian context, 7 years ago, there were no Australian producers of lithium spodumene other than Greenbushes, and no one else existing beyond Greenbushes. And 7 years ago, the current prices that we were seeing today were boom lithium pricing for the environment where we were sitting. So companies like Galaxy and Orocobre were all very highly valuated in terms of what they have. I need to remind that we have better grades than both of them. We have a resource that can compete and could be as big. And we can be a lithium producer next year, conditions remaining the same, very healthy margins of around $6,000 a ton under what we've done on the study. So I would like to bring back everyone to see the difference between lithium brines and lithium spodumene. The lithium price for spodumene today, yes, they're not that impressive, but for us in the brine sector, they're very strong and remain strong. And we are very excited that we can come online even on the current prices, because we can pay back our investment. We have also a significant upside. As I mentioned, phase 2, we got phase 2, 3, and 4. And we have on the study of the DFS of phase 2, the economics were very strong. Costing will be reduced. Scales of economic will come. Permits for phase 2 should come in the second half of this year. And we're keeping things on phase 2 a little bit on ice for the time being, as we are advancing the project, but we want to make sure that we deliver on phase 1. And as I mentioned, the exploration upside remains very strong, and that comes with Candelas mainly. And no company will be a company without a strong team. We have a highly skilled team of ex-SQM people from operations. Daniel can explain who he is and when he introduced himself. And everyone that has been in Galan has a significant amount of experience, that they've been there, done it, knows what it works and doesn't work. So we don't have to go into the experience and learning curve, hitting the same problems once again. So there's a lot of time saving in the execution and operation of the project. So a little bit of geographically to see where our tenements sit. Everything on light blue is Galan. So Hombre Muerto West is to the left of the screen. Candelas is to the south east. of Hombre Muerto. As I mentioned, the upside of resource remained there with Candelas. And what I want to say is the lithium revolution started with Arcadium, formerly Livent, formerly FMC, 30 years ago. The lithium-ion batteries you saw on the Sony Handycams 30 years ago, give or take, they started from lithium coming from there and not Australia. So we are not new to the battery context. And when we started Galan, the thesis was if we can get the same grade, low impurities of our neighbors, we'll have a project. And that's what it's been demonstrated. And that's what we want to do. And that's what we want to be pushing forward and become the next lithium producer. In a context, and Daniel can give you more depth into this, is there are not many projects, lithium projects coming online next year. So don't forget that we will be one of those. So in the history of Galan, and this is a very important inflection point that I would like to emphasize, that we are the first company in Argentina that we has got an agreement to get permits for exporting lithium concentrate. And in a context, how important is this? It's very important because this has opened the door, and Daniel will explain more on the way to this, that it has opened the doors worldwide. Less than a month ago, we signed this agreement with the Catamarca government that we believe that is going to be endorsed. There's no reason why it shouldn't. All the parties are aligned in Argentina, so politically, the risk of this not being approved is very low, because the lower house that needs to approve this is in the same line with the government, and all of this have been pre-checked. The government will not sign something that hasn't been already discussed and checked internally. So we believe that this is something that has a low risk of execution, but for what it means for Galan, it means that today we are at the strongest commercial point on the history of the company. Financially, I do get it, I take it, it's painful, but commercially, we could not be in a better position. And this is what makes us so excited from our point of view, understanding the pain, the short-term pain that we're living, is that we can take our concentrate that if this was spodumene, it will be lithium oxide 12.9. It's been called liquid spodumene. It's been called many other things, but the bottom line with our concentrate is that we have the best concentrate in the world because it's got the highest grade and the lowest impurities of our concentrate. And Daniel can explain what it means for the converters in more detail. But what we have given in terms of the paying a high royalty, it's for clarity, it's a high royalty on the lithium chloride payabilities, not on the lithium carbonate. So it can compete neck to neck with lithium royalties for lithium oxide being paid here in WA. So WA is pretty much single-handed driving the rest of the supply in the world for lithium. We have agreed with the Catamarca government to do something in a similar way. So we're not seeing that we are giving too much away for something that we believe is in line with the market conditions that our competition, which is Western Australia, is currently doing. And having the world, the world opened for placing our product, it makes a massive difference for what we're going to be achieving in the future, and also for funding. So put it this way: if Western Australia was put to produce lithium hydroxide from day one, there will not be a lithium revolution that you seen today. What we have been able to achieve is to open and let the market open to compete with our product, and we are ready doing so. We are ready to start competing, and we are ready to get to the wall and start getting the project forward. And we believe that the interest that we've seen is such a high interest that we'll get over the line with this inflection point that we have an agreement with the local government. And not only that, the government also give this sort of approvals is because we've seen what we're doing, all the development that we've done, how we work with the communities, and how we relate in Catamarca. So we have good relationship at those all levels. So the last thing, as I said, we do have a resource upside. We just did our fourth resource increment, Hombre Muerto West. So with that said, we'll go into the next slides, but I just want to reinforce that the resource is there. We have many avenues to do what we need to do. And the phase of development, it's also being complemented with the resource strength that we have. So in terms of the construction update, you can see even some people are sending me from pictures, satellite picture about our advance rate. Somebody said that we have a Cybertruck in construction, and with the shape of these ponds, we've seen that we remain on track, even with all the adjustments, and that we've seen in order to restrict our advance rate. We still believe that by the first half of 2025, we can come online. We have secured the most important part for long lead items, and we are also making sure that we have everything that we have in place. So when market conditions and funding changes, we are ready to finish the execution of the project. Now, in terms of the pond, phase 1 itself, we have finished pond 1 filling. Pond 2 is already been filled. Pond 3 is under construction. Pond 4 is already started. So we have a project that it's on the execution side, that today the advance rate is close to 40%. It's going well. No surprises, but no surprises because we got the team that can execute, and is not new to operate in Argentina. Well, this is the current state of Galan. So yes, the chart is not where we're proud and where we want to be. We are participating as directors on the previous cap raise, and myself, I want to confirm that tomorrow there will be a 2A and then a 3Y being put into the market to back up what we send. This is the conviction is there. So the question that being asked, am I going to participate with $1 million? The answer is yes. I'm going to put that money in there. Am I proud of the company? Absolutely. I'm proud of what we've done. Now, in terms of the market being tanking and turning around and being all in the same bag, yes, has been affected. But we believe that we can turn this around. And in a year's time, this should be just hopefully one of the anecdotes that we have to go through getting a project into production. We'll keep backing that up. Myself, I'm going to be participating on the current, better said, race, which is at the 23 cents. I'm going to participate once again because I believe in the company. I believe in what we can do, and I believe in my team. I believe that this can be done. So we are conscious about the cash position that we have. We are being very conscious about how we can execute this. So we can execute this at a very, very slow pace without stopping, but I'm doing enough so the project is still advancing and at a very slow rate, in time with what we believe that we can achieve in the next 4 months. So the strength of Hombre Muerto West, as I mentioned early on, we have 100% projects today with Hombre Muerto West and Candelas. And what it means on the cost curve is where we're sitting today under the study for Hombre Muerto phase 2, and we believe that we can even optimize and make these operating costs lower and move to the left of the curve, is the energy assumption for the study were done under diesel generation power execution. And there is an opportunity to reduce operating cost by having a solar farm. And we don't necessarily need to spend capex on a solar farm. You can contract a company, and we have a few options on the table for a third-party company to build the solar farms and then charge you on a long-term contract. So the capex requirement can be minimized. But importantly, the company believes that by getting online, sinking the capex, we are there for life. The mine life of these projects under study is 40+ years, even with phase 2, and we have enough to go with phase 3 on phase 3 on Hombre Muerto West with a similar amount of life. And the operating costs are pretty much constant because what we're doing is just pumping. So for spodumene, you're getting to a mine that the mine costs, they increase as you go on deeper, they increase as you move further away. Our setting for operating costs are pretty much established from day one, and they don't move much in time as we move along in the timeline of the mine development. So strong, low operating costs. We are sitting on the best possible way that we can be on on the cost curve with improvements that we have already identified and reducing. And this get complemented. Our phases have got a low CO2 emission, and we are very conscious about how can we produce something with a low CO2 emissions, and this gets done because the current technology that we're using, which is a conventional technology for pond evaporation, uses the sun to our advantage. And importantly, we use low fresh water from the same area just for the camp and use on the lime plant. But we understand that the water situation at Ombra Muerto is tight, so we're not competing with third parties like our neighbors to get more water. We're using the in-situ brackish water, if you want to call it, to operate and work with what we have to deliver phase 1, 2, and 3. So the operating costs are low, and it combines with a low CO2 and green credentials. So not many companies can do this. You can see clearly where the cost curve sits, and we believe that we can reduce even our our CO2 emission, as I mentioned, by adding a solar farm into the equation for the development of Ombra Muerto West phase 1 and 2. So we have 4 phases of development. Importantly, we focus on phase 1, as mentioned early on. But once we get this over the line, the world is our oyster. We have a significant upside for 3 more phases. As I mentioned, we want to crawl before we walk and before we run. So what else is there for Galan? There's a significant upside. We need to get the project out of inertia. We need to get the project moving. We need to get into production, and then the next steps will start happening. So I get asked a question, with the Catamarca government agreement, are we moving away from things? And the answer is no. If you look into our phase 3 assumes a downstream process plant in 2028. And so that doesn't differ from what we already mentioned to the market. It doesn't change things where we think that we can go. So it's everything that we done, it's in line, and we're not changing we're not committing to something that we have not already said publicly in the public domain. So this slide has been sitting there for a few years. We're not saying anything new in terms of where our intentions lay down the track for adding value. We don't know exactly what we're going to do for adding value, whether it's going to be hydroxide, carbonate, what process are we going to do? We need to yet to decide that, but we have in our theme to see how we can add value down the track. And as I mentioned, we cannot be aspirate to be a chemical company if we cannot be, first of all, a mining company that can produce concentrate. Well, we got 2 board members today, myself and Daniel today. We got Claudia as well. Claudia, it's based in Chile, ex-SQM executive. Daniel and Claudia both based in Santiago. 2 of our board members have got strong lithium experience and decades of experience directly in lithium brine operations. So we have a board that is got experience as required. Richard is a mining lawyer. He also operated in Argentina. He worked for Alumbrera, an ex-copper mine in Argentina, in Catamarca. So he knows very well how to operate in Argentina. And Terry is a local Western Australia, Perth-based director that is been supporting and helping us to get where we are, and from inception. So Terry's been with us from day 1 since I started the merger of the private company that was Blue Sky Lithium with Dempsey Minerals back in the day, and he's been very supportive ever since. So we do have also a strong, as I mentioned, team with experience, and I would like to highlight Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos Pereira was the ex-senior VP of operations of SQM. He brings the right people to advise also on what are we doing with the project, how can we execute it in the best possible way, contractors, operators. And so this can be a smooth construction project and trying to smooth things out as much as we can as well in the operational side of things. And furthermore, Alvaro is a hydrogeologist, and he operated the sulfate of Atacama. So not many companies have got hydrogeologists that have got experience to see what works and doesn't work in terms of in the normal world, our hydrogeologist will be a mining engineer, but because we have a liquid formed resource, we need a hydrogeologist, and we got the man in the ground in Chile for it. Boris is a Chilean Australia that basically resides in Chile and operated also in Argentina for a number of years. And importantly, we got Francisco and Pablo, they are local Catamarcans that started the company since day one. And they were part of Blue Sky Lithium, and these guys, they've been there all the time, every time. And they are the wheels and the eyes and ears and everything else in Argentina for making all of this happen, to get good relationship with the communities and also help us with the government relationships. So just to wrap it up, with Galan, we have a strong backup from or support from the government and the community. We have at Galan internally, we have a strong team to operate and deliver. And importantly, don't forget, Galan is about the fundamentals. We have the best resource declared in Argentina in terms of grade. We have a big resource. We have a way forward to make this grow. We want to get into production for phase 1, and we are focused on delivering that. Well, with that, I'll leave my side of the presentation, and then I will come on the Q&A. But I'll leave Daniel to talk more about where we're at, and what he's seen, and directly from the interest on the market. So, Daniel, all yours.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Daniel Jimenez here. I've been with Galan now since 2019 as a non-executive director. Before we start I guess everybody's interested to understand what's going on with possible offtake negotiations. Would like to mention a few things about the project. First of all, the Hombre Muerto West resource is by far the best resource in Argentina. It's not only lithium purity, what matters also is the impurity profiles, which is very, very low and therefore very convenient for the process. Secondly, from a project development perspective, I am personally very confident that with the technical team we have, the project development risks are minimal. And Juan Pablo has explained several times already about the experience of the team, but that's really what matters. They're the two things that matter, in my opinion: resource quality and the experience of the team, of the technical team. And that we have. So in that regard, I think I have a very high confidence level that the project is going to be developed on time and within what is being planned. Now, when we talk also about Galan, we decided at an early stage to try to go for lithium chloride concentrate and not to go the route through lithium carbonate. This is something which, by the way, is not new. This is something which SQM did for more than 10 years. I personally participated in the development of that story. And essentially, what you're doing here is shifting the conversion from this lithium chloride to a third party without having yourself to incur in the capital cost of a conversion plan. And when we look back at what that business was for SQM, it was at that time as profitable as producing lithium carbonate and selling us lithium carbonate. So that was our dream, right? The next relevant thing to mention is this export permit we got. This export permit opens, of course, an enormous opportunity because without that permit, we were pretty much secluded to what could be done in Argentina. But with this export permit, a wide range of options open to us, right? And we have now, since we got this permit around 3-4 weeks ago, we have been now in intense conversations and negotiations with potential off-takers. And I must tell that the indications we have so far point to a valuation of lithium chloride concentrate, which is equivalent to the value of lithium chloride we would get if we would produce lithium carbonate and sell it then as lithium carbonate, but without having to invest in a lithium carbonate plant, which would be essentially an enormous capital expenditure, right? So we're very pleased with how these conversations are going, and it's not one, it's multiple simultaneously, and I think we will have the luxury of finally choosing maybe two options to go, and eventually with that full commit also partially volumes of phase 2, or if not complete phase 2. And bottom line, this brings us to a situation in which the margins I would expect for Galan will probably, per ton of lithium carbonate equivalent produced, will probably be higher than any of the unit margins for equivalent prices our other competitors are having in Argentina, simply because we will not incur the capital cost of a lithium carbonate plant. I would also like you to, because I know there's a lot of skepticism about lithium chloride, I would like you also to explain that evidently the buyers of lithium chloride, a group of them, want to produce lithium carbonate. Okay, so they will basically price the lithium chloride at lithium carbonate price less their costs of converting that lithium chloride into carbonate. But there's another group of clients, and these are clients who consume lithium chloride. And those consumers today, they buy lithium carbonate because that's what they have available in them. So you have to, and you have to go then from chloride to carbonate and then to a chloride again. Well, we will, if we reach agreements with them, we will go directly to lithium chloride, or they will have directly lithium chloride, and their willingness to pay evidently is higher than if they have to go through the carbonate. And I leave this there. I would say the selling of the lithium chloride concentrates, the opportunities we have today are extremely interesting for Galan, and I think we will get some very good agreements in place in a relatively short period of time.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen, for the update. We've received quite a few questions. And again, I encourage webinar attendees to use the Q&A function, which can be found at the bottom of your screen. Bear with me, we've got lots of questions coming through. So first up, can you provide a construction update on Hombre Motor West phase 1, and is it still on track?
Yep, with the current information and with the current plan, we are adjusting ourselves accordingly to spend less, and we are slowing down significantly in terms of our expenditure to being able to achieve that target towards the end of phase 1. And we believe that we still can be a producer by then. All depending on what we're doing, but we believe that we will get the funding in between so we can execute things, because we are lining up the long lead items and that we already ordered, and being able to execute with the time that we have, so we can take also advantage of the summer coming in, and we being able to start producing in the second quarter of 2025 is towards more to that point. But yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, and just another one just on phase 1. What alternative funding solutions, including debt and prepayment facilities, are being explored to enable completion of the phase 1 project? And if funding constraints are an issue, is there an option to reduce the size of the project and still bring this online?
Well, there are many things still that we're not moving with our plan. And look, from where we stand and where we see in the interest is we're going to find a commercial contract. And at the same time, we're going to be able to get this online, as we mentioned on the previous question. So, but we also just want to say that we got Candelas, and Candelas is not dormant in the background, just doing nothing. So we're looking at a home also to try to bring that forward because currently it's our phase 4. So it makes a lot of sense. We can bring that forward with another solution potentially from a third party. So I want to say that not everything is debt, equity, or prepayment. There is Candelas there that could be somehow a way of monetize things without and operate that at the same time.
Thank you, JP. This one's come through a few times, just asking for an update on Glencore.
Yeah, look, we Glencore, it's a question that plenty of questions asked. So the proposal with Glencore, it's is currently under due diligence, and I get asked as well, can the Chinese live with a Glencore deal? We got as I mentioned, we got a proposal from Glencore, and they are sitting on due diligence. We also want to say that we have a potential coexistence of these two things happening at once. And so from the Galan point of view, all options are open. So it is there, we're waiting, and we are looking at all options. So we believe that we got many options and more options are opening. And this is a point that I just wanted to make in terms of that Galan is pushing ahead with what it needs to be done. And we believe that we're going to get there starting with in the short term with a contract. And that's what Daniel is working hard trying to get this over the line.
Thank you, JP. There's quite a few questions just on additional offtakes. I know you sort of just covered it there, but is there any other comments you can potentially make?
Well, it's what I saw one of the questions there, why are we not hiring Macquarie? They specifically say, why are we not looking at Macquarie to do this for us? You know, with all due respect to Macquarie, but they don't have the experience in negotiations and understanding the lithium market as Daniel does. If you want to replace Daniel, you have to bring a large team of people trying to do and understand what is done. So the offtake negotiations are advancing, and we're getting interest. The news is quite new in terms of timing. This happened a month ago, and we're getting inquiries still recently. So the news are maturing, and the offtake could be for phase 1, part of phase 2. We have a strong inbound interest generally, and this is what gets us very excited.
Sorry, bear with me. I'm jumping around a little bit here.
Yep.
Can you provide more details on the export license, and is it required by off-takers for Galan to receive it in full, or is the MOU enough for an off-take?
Yeah, what I explained this point early on in my presentation, in that we believe that this is going to get approved, and do the third parties require this to be approved? Technically, yes, but they understand as well the same things that we do understand. So in terms of the execution risk of this is very low. Unless a civil war starts in Argentina, I don't see any other reason why we're not going to get this approved.
Thank you, JP. Just a question here. So would Galan rather consider selling an equity stake in the project?
Well, what I'm hinting is that Candelas is something that we're looking at. And Hombre Muerto West will hold on as long as we can, but Candelas is definitely something that we can bring forward by looking at part of the solution of funding for what we need to do at Hombre Muerto West, which is right in front of us. And this is our first preference.
So this question just here on cap raises. Can you explain the capital raisings taken to date, and include just a little bit of commentary around the decision making and the impact on shareholders?
Yes, it's look, we it's a juggling act in terms of we need to, you know, from that 2020 side, and you know, you get criticized. You've done if you do, you've done if you don't. This is bringing projects online is difficult. It's not easy. You know, you get criticized from we could be on the other side of the fence. We could be having the best project in Argentina being criticized for doing nothing, and will be in a similar position where we are. There are other companies that have the market cap in Argentina is low, and there's little being done. So we taking the view that we need to advance this. We need to put this forward. Has not been ideal in terms of the pricing that we're facing and we getting, and I do get it, and it's hurtful. It does hurt me. I would say I'm still the largest shareholder of Galan, and I'm still putting money back in. Just for clarifying some comments, yes, the money is coming in, and the announcements will come in the next day or so. So look, we are taking our money seriously. You can see clearly we put our money on the ground into the project, and we see the value that this will have in the future. And this is our belief that we can get this and get the funding that we are getting, and that we are working in parallel. Not only looking at phase one, we're looking at other things beyond that point. And the market hasn't helped. You know, we're not only Galan. It's a lot of companies have seen similar trajectories in lithium. Lithium is not sexy anymore. Not many companies, or many, you talk to everyday person, and the reaction when you say that you're in lithium is different to the reaction that people say that lithium today. So it's a combination of several factors. But importantly, we have a project that we have the conviction to deliver, and we believe that we can get this over the line. We can do things. Today is a value erosion. Yes, it is. We take it. I take it. It's not easy. But with what we have, and when things go bad, everyone wants to know exactly every single detail of things that you're doing. We are a publicly listed company, and we cannot just be giving information freely to everyone without being public knowledge. So we're trying to do and explain to everyone what we're doing with the best public information that we have. And they always are, you know, it's like a duck just moving its leg underwater. And we are trying to get this, once again, repeating the common line, but it is a painful time, yes. And we are careful with our money. I've been asked many things, but the conviction for us is there, and I will not be backing this up if with the conviction that we have, we're not going to get over the line in due course, and that's Galan, and that's what we always said. We're not changing from that strategy. We're not changing from where we're pointing and where we'll do it. Yes, things have taken longer in some areas. The agreement with the government of Catamarca took longer. Yes, it took 5 years, and we got it over the line, and we are the first one to do so. So, look, all of this news that we put together no long ago, and it gets penalized in a boom environment, it will be celebrated. We get it. You know, it's not easy, but we're going to get there in terms of our finding a solution and a way to be a producer.
Thanks, JP. Just still on this, there are a few questions still coming through. So, following the commitments to raise the 14 million equity capital this week, what runway does this provide Galan to execute on the strategy?
As we mentioned, and I mentioned on the presentation, 4 months.
Okay.
And that's 4.5 months, actually, because if you take when we did it, yeah.
Okay. Another one here. So can you confirm, and I know you touched on this, can you confirm whether Galan management participated in the equity raise, and is your $1 million investment at the 23?
I already said that clearly. This is the third time I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to put $1 million myself. So I believe in this, and I'm going to put money again. And it's not at the $1 million is not at the 23 cents. And Michael, mate, I'm putting my own money. So get it. You know, all the things that you're saying, I read it. I put in $1 million at 46 cents, and I'll put money again at 23 cents. I'm going to participate here. I believe in the company. We'll keep putting money. Last year, I put $500,000 of my money, and this year I already put 100. Before that, 220. So it's not a lifestyle. It is a conviction. It is a point where we want to go, and I am putting everything that I have, my blood, sweat, and tears, my own money, and whatever I got to make this work.
Few questions just on shareholder participation. Obviously, this was a sophisticated. Do you have any comments on that?
We did an SPP no long ago, and that's for all common shareholders, and sophisticated shareholders participated at the current raise, and that's why we got a strong backup from the funds that we were there before, but importantly, shareholders that they've been back with Galan. I do want to thank everyone for of the shareholders that were able to come back at Galan and even the current prices. So it's very humbling as well to see that there are people that believe what we're doing, and that's why we got oversubscribed by 40% oversubscription from the initial amount that was going to be raised. So look, it's difficult, but at the same time, you see, yes, there are a lot of shareholders that are not happy. I get it. I do get it. But there are other shareholders that they see the road that we're going to walk, and they understand mining, they understand where we've been and where we're going to go. So, and they're still supporting us. So that money it translates to support. It doesn't. I wouldn't say in any other way. So there's still support from shareholders to us, and they believe that we can do, and yeah, we're executing.
I think we might have covered everything here. Have you got any sort of final sort of comments that you want to make to the webinar attendees on the call today?
Look, I would like to start with Daniel. If you'd like to round up your ideas, your view, and where we're going, and I'll finalize myself thereafter.
No, look, I do not understand really how, it's a fact, but how bearish investors are on Galan. I understand that we need to raise capital, and we need to raise capital. We need to spend phase 1 and 2 will cost us, end up costing us around the $400 million. There's no way we can do that without incurring in further debt or a capital raise. So I mean, but on the other hand, we have a wonderful project where on the low end of the cost curve, what we're doing means that we will need less capital to make the same amount of money at a operational margin. So the project is moving on very smoothly, and indeed, cash is what we need, and we'll need look means for doing it. I think having offtake agreements signed will facilitate enormously the finance thing through debt. So I hope that we can come with some official news sometime in the very near future.
Thanks, Daniel. Look, from my end, it's a conviction, and as a team, representing Galan, is that it is not. Once again, it's not easy to be doing what we're doing. But if I didn't believe in this, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't put in $1 million coming up, and probably another $500,000 the next race at 23 cents. There's a lot to be said about who we are, where we started, where we're going, and what we're going to do. The market conditions, they will not prevail at this level forever. Yes, funding is important. We do have plan A, B, C, and D, and we are conscious of where we're standing with our cash position. We do have alternatives that we have as planned. We cannot disclose everything, and that's what I want to get. Every single shareholder is not happy. They want details to the nth degree, how a company is doing this, and that. So you only can operate with what you can disclose. So I want you to, but the message that I want to pass is that we listen, and we are conscious of all of those things. But if you believe in Galan, and this is our choice, we're doing what we're doing because we got the conviction, and we as Daniel said, we got the project team, cost curve, and once we're in production, the fundamentals will stick for itself. And there is a bathtub, and that somebody was explaining in a conference. When a company it's at the exploration level, it jumps a lot in value, then decreases and goes down through the studies, construction, and then it jumps up again once it becomes a lithium producer. we are on that curve. We are facing market conditions that are not favorable for lithium, but we believe that we'll turn this around. So bear with us. This is the conviction of the company. Here's no lifestyle. This look, if I could say that the sacrifice that we're all doing here is humongous, and we have a small team and we're executing things in a way that you require a lot more people than it probably could not be done under the current budget. So, but we're still delivering. We are very efficient on what we're doing. So, there's no market conditions that we like to be more like they were 2 years ago. Yes, but we can deliver this, and we'll come on top. We'll deliver, and I want to thank for the current shareholders that are supporting us, and the ones that are not convinced. I'm happy to engage again in another webinar or trying to answer more questions directly when they have time. I do try to answer email, do try to call everyone, but our focus is on the project in Argentina to deliver what we have. So with that, I want to thank everyone. So thanks, Jane, and I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Yes, thank you all for joining us for the Galan Lithium Investor webinar. If we've missed any of your questions, our contact details are available on the bottom of our ASX releases, and a recording of this webinar will be available online in the coming days. But thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.